Last night, Leeds United continued their astounding start to the 26-27 season, following a 1-0 win against Nottingham Forest, where things looked a little bit shaky, with a very, very different performance and result against Nottingham Forest last night at the City Ground for the second time in about 3 days. You'd think they would have adapted and changed and would be better equipped to deal with Leeds United, but they absolutely were not. It was a fantastic match for Leeds, but I'll get into that in a couple of moments' time. Before I do, pop a like on the video, subscribe, that'd be quite nice of you, thank you very much. So, just to summarise this one up, we knew from the weekend that Nottingham Forest were not a side that were going to easily roll over. They were not a side that was going to say, no, it's fine. You just run over us and it'll be alright. Then they weren't going to do a Coventry against Arsenal where it just became a question of what the number was going to be. But the way that we sort of performed against Nottingham Forest last night, I think, was very telling of all of the best business that we've done this window so far. So to begin with, our back four, because I'm going to count the centre-backs and the goalkeeper in one, had a genuinely astounding game. Tariq Muharamovic is definitely proving why he was worth that £34 million, approaching that record signing for us without a doubt. Nico Elvedi is already showing that he's got that sort of age and experience and that sort of level of care that the best central defenders show, where they're able to work out what the issue is before it becomes an issue and cut out anything that looks like it could become a problem. He's someone that has great awareness, great sort of initiative and perception of the football pitch. But interestingly, the centre-back that I think did the best in this match, or at least had the best moment in this match, was Joe Rodon by a comfortable margin. There was a point early on in the match, was it early on? It was in the first half at the very least, where Chris Wood is breaking through on goal, manages to nutmeg someone, has the clearest shot, but Joe Rodon somehow has managed to be the fastest player on a football pitch that features the likes of Dan James and Noah Okafor, who consistently trains with sprinters, to get back and put in a delicious slide tackle that manages to stop them in their tracks, prevents things like that, and keeps the score at 0-0. If Rodon doesn't do that, then Forest go ahead, and I think it's going to be very, very difficult to break them down. Instead, Joe Rodon, fantastic challenge, saves our skins, but it's really sort of telling that, I'll get to Trafford in a moment, it's very telling that when it comes to James Trafford, he had very little to do outside of the incredible saves that he made, and one of them is the one I'm going to sort of focus on, where ball comes across to Chris Wood, who we know is an excellent finisher, and we know that he can put the ball into the corner of any given net at any given time. And he did so. And normally you would wheel away and celebrate and like, yes, okay, I've scored the goal that's put us ahead or drawn us level. I can't quite remember the timeline on it. But this will be what makes the difference. And apparently in his post-match interview, Chris Wood was like, yeah, I genuinely thought I'd scored that goal. Except he didn't quite account for James Trafford, and this is the importance of having a top goalkeeper in net. This is the importance of having someone there that will win you points just based on the fact that stuff that should go in can't, because he's there now. That attempted finish from Chris Wood was right in the corner. Trafford is going to his right to get back to the middle of his net because he's positioned himself at the near post to deal with the cross. Not only has he managed to make the save whilst coming back across his net, the shot goes in the other direction to the one he's travelling in, which means that he's able to very quickly shift his momentum, get down to make that save, which is a stunning stop, and ultimately, once again, put us in a position where we've managed to stay competitive in the match because of these new signings, which is genuinely fantastic. I'm incredibly happy with it. He made great saves at the weekend, he's made great saves now. And not only are we looking at the players that we've just signed, but we're looking at players elsewhere on the pitch. So the midfield, Ampadu, Longstaff, Tanaka, controlled that match with absolute ease. It looked like Nottingham Forest were barely there for significant chunks of the match, and we've got to remember that of that midfield, two of them won't be playing week in, week out. They are rotation options right now, which is incredible to think about, because this is a very, very strong rehearsal to put forward to go, look, I shouldn't be a rotation option. I should just be here, and you should just pick me week in, week out. And it was a very firm statement from them to say, look, you might say Stack and Ampadu are the pairing that will get picked every single week. I don't care about that. I care about the fact that I'm going to make the best impression possible and make myself undroppable. And I'm a big fan of players that take that approach, even if it's like a cup match that no one particularly cares about, that is happy to fight for their cause. Sorry, you're probably hearing the baby sucking on a dummy right now. I'm very happy to see players that are fighting for their cause and ultimately trying to work their way back into the squad rather than being happy sitting on the bench. And the same definitely applies for someone who is a strong shout for man of the match, Dan James. Dan James was constantly putting in incredibly dangerous balls time and time and time again. And it was a little bit of a shame that no one got on the end of them because he genuinely deserved an assist or two. But his goal was taken so incredibly well that you kind of forget about all of that. He sort of, like the Longstaff and Tanaka stuff, very firmly put out a statement of, this is why I should be starting games of football. And it's not like it was a case of he's only done it against championship opposition. This was still a very strong Forest side. And I think being able to really sort of impose himself on them when it's a decent team to be playing against. Also, I completely forgot, but to hop back for a moment, that sort of shot/cross thing that Ola Aina did that Trafford got to, ridiculous save. I just had to cover that one off before I completely forgot it. But Dan James being able to put in that level of performance against what is effectively a Premier League side shows that he's definitely back from those injury issues that meant that he was never really on form last season. Very, very good to see. Mecha, again, imposed himself on the back line, caused a lot of problems, and was a big part of the reason that Forest didn't really cause us any issues as well. It meant that we had a lot of control over the match, and that comes from the front of the pitch. Okafor, I think, was pretty spotty at points. Like, we know that he can be a little bit inconsistent, but it's completely understandable because he's coming back from a relative lack of match fitness. At the end of the day, this match was one of those that didn't really matter too much in terms of the result, but it mattered quite a bit in terms of the lessons that you can learn. And the lessons that we're learning right now is this is a very, very strong Leeds United squad that don't just sort of stumble their way to results like we did at the weekend, but can properly set the pace of a match, dictate what an opponent has to do because they have to try and match us in some ways, and ultimately leave with the best result we can hope for. And hopefully this is going to be another cup run for Daniel Farke's Leeds United, because last year was very, very fun. So let's just do that again, shall we? That'd be a nice time. On the transfer front, there is no new news since the match itself, or I would have covered it in this video, but if there is anything that pops up tomorrow, I will be more than happy to bring that up in a live stream or a video. Make sure you come along. It'll be a good time. And yeah, can leave that there. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo.